Hello, welcome to Racecraft once again. This time we're going to talk about Sigmas, and in particular we're going to talk about power boosters. Now, I was on a forum a few weeks ago and there was a guy asking, what do I do about my rusty old booster on my Sigma? And the advice was, you take it to the brake people and they'll charge you $450 in reconditioner for you. And yes, that's a good answer. But maybe there's a better way, certainly a cheaper way to do it. And that's what I'm going to show you today. So I've got my Sigma half cut here, and this is where I develop all the little bits and pieces that I make. On the floor here, I've got a selection of boosters. And I'll go through each one of them and show you what's the best and the not so good ones to use. This is the original Sigma booster. And this shiny bit that you can see here is where I've polished all the rust off it. And this is typically what happens to them. They sit in the car about that angle, the master cylinder leaks, the fluid runs down here and rusts the crap out of your booster. So that's a 40-year-old booster. So yes, you could have it reconditioned, you can repaint it and so forth, or you could change to a different booster. Now the lucky thing is that a Pajero booster, about 20 years newer, this is a second-hand one, 1998 Pajero. It's got a different bolt pattern on the front because these bolts sit horizontally, so they're not the same as the Sigma. But that actually helps us, and I'll come to that in a moment. Now the lucky thing is that the bolts are nice and long, so they'll go through the firewall with that aluminium spacer on it. The downside is the bolt spacing is not quite the same. So you have two different bolt spacings. So I'll just lay these down here so you can see the two bolt spacings. And what it is the distance from the top to the bottom is a little bit wider on the Pajero booster. But that's okay, because on the pedal box you have room to drill the other set of holes further down. Now, what you can do is you can use this aluminium spacer as a drilling jig. So what you do is take the aluminium spacer, bolt it onto the firewall, I'll show you the firewall in a moment, and then use these holes to drill through the pedal box. And you still do come through in the pedal box where the material is. So that works out really well. So if we have a look here at the firewall, you can see the extra set of holes down the bottom here. They're the original holes. That's the Pajero holes. So all I did was bolt that up to the firewall with the original holes, drill through the others, bang, job's done. Now the beauty of using the Pajero booster is that you end up with a booster that's like 20 years newer. It's bigger in diameter, you can see the difference in diameter there, and I'm told that it's also double diaphragm, so should give you a pretty good feel on the pedal. The other thing is that the distance from the back of the booster to where the pedal goes on is the same on both of them when you use that spacer there. So the distance from the spacer, it's about 100 mil, put it on there, it's 100 mil. So that just bolts straight up to your pedal. So to do this conversion, all you're doing is drilling two more holes in the firewall and it just goes straight onto the pedal. Now, with the master cylinder, that's a lucky thing. That's the Pajero master cylinder. It's 15/16, you can see 15/16 written on there. So it's nice and big for, I do a Holden Commodore conversion on the front brakes, so this works really well with the Holden Commodore calipers. And of course, being a Pajero master, it just bolts straight onto the front. Now, if you're doing a Scorpion, the Scorpion, that's a Scorpion booster there, and as you can see, it's in pretty average condition. But if you did want to fix it and clean it all up, that Pajero master will bolt straight on to your original Scorpion booster. So you can use that. Now the other one that I've got here, this is Magna. Now you can also use the Magna. That's, what's that say, TRTS Magna. It'll work. It also accepts the Pajero master cylinder, it goes straight on. It's a little bit smaller in diameter than the Pajero, so if you've got a distance, a space constraint with the rocker cover or something like that, then maybe this will work better. But there is a downside, and that is that it's only got these little short studs on it. So when you put the spacer on, there isn't enough stud left to go through the firewall. Not a problem if you're a little bit clever, and what you could do is use what's called coupler nuts. And all they are is nuts that are like about 20 millimeters long. You screw half onto that, half onto a stud, and you can add studs to it and put it through the firewall. So the Magna's also a go as well. Personally, I like the Pajero. So this is another V8 Scorpion I'm doing. Yes, it's another Windsor. I do like the Windsors in here because they just fit so well. But this one, I've put the Pajero booster and master cylinder on. It's actually got a second-hand master on there, but you can see how well that fits into the car. We've painted it the same colour as the car, so it blends in there quite nicely. But it clears the firewall, clears the tower, clears the rocker cover, everything. Really, really nice conversion. Alright, that's about it for boosters. I hope this has been helpful, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for viewing.